So last week you heard about the triple gem, especially the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and the qualities of these three gem or the triple gem. So today I'm going to talk about the Four Noble Truth. Four Noble Truth is a very important in the Buddhism. This is the one of the, we can say, the heart of the Buddhist teachings lies in this Four Noble Truth. The Four Noble Truth is the first discourses given by the Buddha to the five ascetics who they practiced actually before he became Buddha for some time in Uruvela, and then they left him because Buddha started to uh, eat food or practice moderation, and he left self-torturing or self-mortification types of practice or meditation. So they just thought he is not able to get an enlightenment. So this is why he wanted to, once he realized this noble this enlightenment or this noble truth, he just thought who he should first give these discourses, and then he wanted to go to see Alar Klamp and Udak Ramput, who been very famous, and for some time they also taught him their techniques, but Buddha didn't found those techniques were that useful or leading to the enlightenment or the final stage of ultimate truth. So this is why Buddha left, and then he practiced in Uruvela, and then when he got enlightenment, he realized that these two famous ascetics already died, but these five companion or friends who were with Buddha before he became Buddha, he went to teach them. But I would like to also bring your attention that in these five ascetics, one of them, his name was Kondanya, was the person who predicted when Buddha born as a Siddharth, as Siddharth, he predicted that this prince will become Buddha one day, and this is why. This is how important this Kondanya was, and then there was four more with him. So Buddha went to Sarnath, Isipatana, and then he given his first discourses. These five uh, disciples, they were the first disciples, or uh, especially at the monk, or they ordained as a monk. But anyway, this is a little bit brief about how Buddha went and who he given this discourse. But Four Noble Truth again, each there are is four. So already said four. So what are them is first one is the dukkha, the suffering, and then the second one is samudaya, the origin of the suffering, and the third one is nirodha, the cessation of the suffering, and the fourth one is the path leading to the cessation of the suffering, or also called the Noble Eightfold Path. So today I'm only going to focus on the first Noble Truth. So what is the first Noble Truth? In Pali, Buddha said, Jati vidukha, jara vidukha, vyadi vidukho, maranam vidukham, apiyehi sampayogo dukho, piyehi vipayogo dukho, yampi changla labdi tampi dukham, sankhitena panchupadan khanda dukha. So this is the Pali, it is in Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Buddha already mentioned this thing. This is the dukkha, this is the first noble truth. So when we say dukkha or suffering, it has broad meaning. So suffering or dukkha is also have meaning of imperfection, impermanence, or emptiness. And there is we can have three aspects of the dukkha. So what are these three aspects of the dukkha? The first one is called dukkha. So dukkha as ordinary suffering. So what are these ordinary suffering? Buddha said the birth, old age, sickness, death, association with unpleasant person and conditions, and separation from beloved ones and pleasant condition, and not getting what whatever you want. So all this physical and mental pain is called ordinary suffering. So that is the first kind of suffering. The second kind of suffering is viparinama dukkha. That is the dukkha produced by the change. So for example, we know everything is impermanence. So for example, when our mood is very happy, and it will change in unhappy mood. So all these conditions of our life, ups and down, it always bound to change. And because of the change, it could be our mental states, or it could be any kind of situation in our life. When something happens, we found unhappy. We feel unhappy. We found it distressing. So even for example, whatever happening in this world, especially this COVID-19 situation, and because we used to have very different life, but because of this, some restriction, some kind of rules and regulation, we have to be very cautious how we have to follow all the rules and regulations. And something has changed, and definitely it's brought some kind of stress and unhappiness around the world actually. So that is called the viparinam dukkha, the suffering because of the change of any kind of condition, our mood, happiness, or even when we are getting some profit, or when, so anything, if some kind of changes comes in our life that bring unhappiness. So that is the second kind of suffering. The third kind of suffering is sankhara dukkha. The suffering or dukkha as conditional states. This is very very important in Buddhism, because that is the what when we really talk about Buddhism, and when we want to understand how deep Buddhism is. So when we say this suffering about sankhara dukkha, that is talking about 5 aggregates. So what is the 5 aggregates? So before going to 5 aggregates, this is what Buddha said. He said, Panchu Padan Khanda Dukkha. So these 5 aggregates, each itself is a suffering, nothing else. So what is these 5 aggregates? What we say, I, me, or mine, or especially when we say I, so we ourselves, or we say being, is made up of these 5 aggregates and nothing else. And Buddha said these 5 aggregates itself is a suffering. It's very difficult to accept it, but this is what the reality when you go in a deeper practice and you start to realize it. Oh, so when we say 5 aggregates, this is the made up of mind and matter. To little bit elaborate more, these 5 aggregates is called Rup, is matter, so aggregates of the matter. And then Vedana, aggregates of feelings or sensation. The third one, Sanya, aggregates of our perceptions. And then Sankhara, aggregates of our mental formation. And then the fifth one is called Vijnana, aggregates of consciousness. So when we say being or I, they are the only aggregates of these 5 elements. And this is what called being. And Buddha said, when we have these aggregates, it's bring unhappiness. So anyway, we will be discussing these things in the future about the aggregates things. But this is how, in a simpler way, Buddha said, when we born in this world, there is lots of challenges, there is lots of problems, and because of the impermanence nature of this world, because of this emptiness, because of these imperfections, it always brings problems. So this is the first noble truth what Buddha found is in this world. Once we born in this world, we have lots of problems. But Buddha was like a physician. He was like a doctor. He talked about the problem, but he also talked about what is the cure of every problems. And that is what we will be discussing for in our next videos. So the problem is here. We know the problem is could be ordinary problem and could be because of change, and it could be because of conditions. But what is the cause of these problems? So that is the second noble truth, which will be discussed in our next video. So thank you again for listening for today, and let me know how do you find this video. And to know more and to also get more updates regular, please subscribe this channel so you can get more regular updates. And also any comment, if you like to ask any questions, and whatever you like to make a comment, I would like to respond you. I would like to reply for any of your queries. So keep keep watching regularly, and we will keep updating and go more and more. So for today, we have completed this first noble truth. The second video will complete the second, and then the third, and then the fourth. So this is how we will go now. So thank you again for listening.